Good evening, everyone. Welcome into another edition of the Cinema 9 podcast brought to you by Cinema 9. The three guys, Michael, Travis, Eric Branstrom. Here we are. It's Thursday evening, and that means it's time to talk movies. It's just the three of us, no guests, nothing weird. Cinema 9 Pod, protonmail.com, Cinema 9 Pod on all your favorite local social media platforms. We're always looking for those reviews. You know, a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts would be nice, but it's no big deal. We would rather you just listen more than anything else. Travis, here we are. We're officially into the new year. We're past the Happy New Year. We're not saying that anymore. You know, after me, I give it like a week, 10 days tops. And
why are you even bringing it up?
I know. Well, there's a big debate about like how long do you say it? Do you say it all month long? And not me.
It's over.
So how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing good. Getting settled into my new apartment. I keep saying apartment. It's not an apartment. It's a house. I'm getting settled into my new house.
Oh, that's
going well. As I was saying before the show, I'm teaching in person again, which is a drag.
Shit, man!
Excited to hear that Chris Evans is returning to the MCU as Captain America. To no great surprise, I hope that doesn't mess up the Falcon storyline too much. Maybe some flashbacks or something. I know Robert Downey Jr. is in talks to come back for some flashbacks for Armor Wars, so maybe it's something like that.
Wait. So what is this? I didn't hear this.
What I said. Chris Evans is just recently announced today, coming back into the MCU to play,
an unknown thing, like a movie, unknown or TV.
Yeah, no one knows what exactly it is that he's doing, but he's in talks or he's already like confirmed to be coming back or something.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love Chris Evans as
too.
Captain America. He's perfect.
I love him in everything.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't even bad as Johnny Storm when he did the Fantastic Four. He was good for that, but he showed a little bit of range by being a guy who's not as cocky as Captain America. So that's great. I love it. Yeah, woohoo! Eric Branstrom, are you excited about this Captain America revelation?
He's my favorite Avenger, and you know how I feel about the MCU, but he's my favorite Avenger, and I did like how they ended his storyline in Endgame. So I'm kind of hoping it's like a prequel, like in the mix before, and they keep that timeline. But yeah, I'm down. I'm more worried about this deep V-neck being a little too deep. Is this too deep?
Oh yeah, we're in too deep.
Ain't no blade can protect you from the true.
Oh, there it is.
Hey, that V-neck is a little true, man. Yeah, I don't know. That's perfect though. I think you wear it well. You don't look gross. You don't look like a over the hill kind of asshole V-neck. It's a solid V-neck. So.
I wasn't thinking about it till you drew attention to it, and now I'm thinking about it a lot. And
it's deep, yeah. That's how
people can't see it. They're thinking about it. They're like, "What? How deep does it go? Is it like a navel cut? Does he look like Freddie Mercury right now?" The answer is yes. He does.
Well, man, I'll tell you what.
What the true?
It is. It's good. I like it. Yeah, we're going to be doing the true on this show. It's Cloud Atlas, Travis's selection, our most recent film, as far as I've known, after 40 episodes. So I was proud of Travis for taking us up to a little bit more modern times, but still a divisive film with a lot of different thoughts. And we will get to that when we get to our Does It Hold Up? But first, as always, we're going to give you our quarantine viewing picks. Last week we had Brian on, and he shared a few choice films. Did anybody watch any of his selections off the top?
I went to go watch Witch the Subversion, but I had to pay to rent it, which I actually did pay to rent a different movie this week that was also in subtitles, but wasn't up for it in that moment. So at any rate, I will watch it at some point. Probably this week.
Which that's on Netflix. That one he recommended, which the Ascension. Yeah, because I confirmed it, but like I couldn't pull the trigger. So if you're still interested, check it out on Netflix.
There must be the sequel then, because I saw something called Witch the Subversion that was available for rent. I've got to assume it's the same thing. I don't know. I'll look into it.
Okay. Well, hey, I didn't watch any of his selections either. So, hey, sorry, Brian, but we will get to him. We appreciate you having given us a little bit of your time last week. Thank you very much, Brian. Travis, what do you got this week?
Well, again, I've been a little busy, so I've watched less movies, but that still means I've watched more movies than most people in their lives. I finally made room in my life to watch Steven Soderbergh's Magic Mike from 2012.
Okay.
Which is about what I thought it would be, but it was enjoyable. I'll watch the sequel at some point in my life. I watched Roald Dahl's The Witches, the new adaptation of The Witches. people were kind of hating this movie, and is it necessary? Did it need to be made? Absolutely not. But there are still some elements about it that are different from the original that make it worth watching and interesting, even though they really don't take full advantage of like the whole race factor that they went out of their way to plug in there and then didn't really explore nearly as well or as interestingly as they could have. So it was worth seeing, but don't watch it over and over. I mean, you're probably not going to watch it over and over again, but I do think it was kind of unfairly maligned. I watched First Snow from 2006 with Guy Pearce. Have you seen this, Eric? You're muted, bud. I can't hear a word you're saying.
Taco Bell.
Talk about the movie. I flipped past it on I think Tubi, and I was like, I watched the trailer. I couldn't pull the trigger. How was it?
Yeah, I wanted to like it more than like J.K. Simmons is really good in it, but not in it as much as he should be. And I'm not going to recommend this one. I wanted to like it because it's like towards where Guy Pearce kind of stopped being a leading man.
Oh,
and
his hair looked fucking incredible in that trailer.
Ooh.
Was it as good as it was in the preview?
Oh yeah. It's like he plays like kind of like a down on his luck wannabe car salesman kind of guy. He's like all flashy and looking good, like when he's out about in the world, but really he like lives like trash. That's funny.
So you didn't like it?
I mean, I would not say it's not worth seeing. Like it was worth watching, but I wouldn't go out of my way to recommend it.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
That's too
I
bad.
I watched Tenet.
This
film from 2020, directed by this guy named Christoph Nolan, I believe it is.
Yeah, I think Swedish or something.
Look, I'm really sorry, Christopher, if you're listening, but I am glad I didn't see this movie in theaters. Let me preface this by saying that I enjoyed this movie. This is a good movie. Christopher Nolan doesn't make bad movies, but I needed breaks from this movie. This movie like went on for fucking ever. It just would not stop. And
how did you say that about fucking Christopher Nolan, man? It's Christopher Nolan.
Have you seen Tenet?
No, I haven't.
Well, then you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So, I mean,
this strap in for 150 minutes at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, but to me, it's lesser Nolan. And like towards the end, I was just wanting it to be over. Like, I mean, the phrase, these two words together in my mind have never been paired together, but the phrase "boring spectacle" came to my mind as I watched it. While it is good because it's Nolan, it's not his best. So I'm again like it is what it is. And I couldn't stop comparing it to a movie I'd watched the night before called James versus His Future Self from 2019, which is not nearly the same caliber of movie. I'm not going to try and compare them in terms of production value or anything like that, or acting or anything like that. But Daniel Stern has returned to film in 2019, and I wanted to watch this movie based on that. I'm like, I like Daniel Stern, and he checked out. He was only doing voiceovers and like a little bit of directing for the past 20 years or so. And he plays this movie where a guy develops time travel and his future self comes back to stop him from doing it, being like, dude, you fucking awesome. Yeah. He's like, dude, you fucking ruin your life. You cut off yourself from all your relationships to succeed your goals. But you end up miserable. Like, don't do it. So the whole movie is like, it's funny. And, both of these movies, Tenet and James versus Future Self, to me, they're time travel movies that offer new things and unique takes on the genre. But one of these movies, I didn't repeatedly stop and need breaks from. It entertained me throughout, even though it wasn't cerebral. And I wouldn't need to watch it on an IMAX screen. So I'm going to recommend James versus Future Self. It's on a bunch of stuff. It's even though it's from last year, it's streaming for free. I think I saw it on Tubi or something like that. And last but not least, Mike, I watched Another Round.
Hey, all right.
All right. Which I take issue with the name. I like the original name so much better. It's DRUK, Druk or Druck. I don't know, but it translates to binge drinking, which to me would have been a better title for this movie. But
agreed. I would agree.
So it didn't surprise me much maybe at the very end, but it didn't surprise me a ton. But wonderful performances. It was really awesome to see Mads Mikkelsen reunited with Thomas Bo Larsen from The Hunt. That was great. The guy that played his best friend on that. Mm-hmm. And just I mean, it's a bit of a heartbreaking movie. I don't know who the fuck labeled it as a comedy, but
All right, that's what I said, right? Yeah.
Their sense of humor is in the pits, man. This person needs to be taken to a Chuck E. Cheese.
The marketing was all fucked up on this movie. I'm not sure what they were thinking. I don't know. It's a European film. They're trying to market it in America. Maybe there was a lost in translation moment. I don't know.
Well, wow. So that's what I watched.
Hey, that sounds like fun, man. All right, that's good times. Eric Brandstrom, last week you watched School Ties. This week, did any more School Ties viewings or no?
I didn't watch School Ties again. I did watch The Next Karate Kid from 1994 with Hilary Swank as the new pupil to Mr. Miyagi. I kind of liked it. I can't explain myself. It was like 1 a.m. and I couldn't sleep. So Hilary Swank has to go up against, it's not high school bullies anymore. It's a crop of evil campus security headed by Michael Ironside.
Oh, shit.
The movie is bonkers, but
see you at the party, Richter. That's one I need.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is she's just such a sweet actress that I kind of got into it a little bit for some reason. I can't explain myself. I took a look at a movie called Down the Shore, starring James Gandolfini in one of his final roles. I think it might have been 2012 or so. It also stars Famke Janssen in her Faces final performance before she got plastic surgery.
Oh, man.
What? Where's the drop, Mike? Come on. It was okay.
Is there a plastic surgery drop? I wasn't aware of one.
Yeah, get something from breast men.
That's a deep cut. That might take a while.
Deep cut.
It was all right.
I got this one.
Fuck ancient Egypt.
Does that work? I don't know.
Kind of. I mean, they fucked up the Sphinx's face and Famke Janssen fucked up her face. There you go.
Wow, that was impressive.
I'm pretty excited. Phil is a movie directed by Greg Kinnear. It's his directorial debut. I hadn't seen him for quite a few years, so I gave it a chance on Amazon Prime. It's not good. It's not good. So if you've been excited about Greg Kinnear, skip Phil and watch some of his other work. Dear God, perhaps.
Autofocus.
Autofocus. Yep, if you're a Paul Schrader fan. Okay.
Anybody a Paul Schrader fan here?
Have we ever mentioned him on the show before?
Paul who? I took a look at it's Indiana, the crossroads of America, so I got a fucking train in my backyard.
That's awesome, man.
Excuse it. I took a look at this documentary called Burn, Motherfucker, Burn.
How was it?
It was really fucking good. So it breaks down, if you haven't heard about it, Travis, you've probably heard of it. It really breaks down the racial tension between the LAPD and the black community that was building since the late 1940s. So it starts in the 40s, right on Central Street from Devil in a Blue Dress.
There it is.
And it goes all the way up to the 92, the Watts riots. Yeah, and right up into 1992, breaks everything down in terms of what the police were doing, what the neighborhoods were like. And it's chock full of just fucking fantastic commentary told by the people that were there. I recommend it. It's called Burn, Motherfucker, Burn.
Yeah, I definitely saw that. It's really good.
Yeah, I wanted to follow it up with LA 92, but too much.
I saw that one too.
You're like, wait, what's it called? I'm not sure if I'm. Burn, motherfucker, burn. Oh yes, I did see that. That's right, I did see that.
I also saw Tenet, and I got to be honest with you guys. I don't have much to say. I was bored. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. I mean, I had like 5 Google windows open, 2 Wikipedia windows open. I didn't care. I was like,
wow.
I just want to know what's going on. It's
both of you guys didn't like it.
Do you know anybody that like will read like the end of a book before they read the beginning because they can't handle like the stress of not knowing what's going to happen?
Isn't that you?
Don't you do that?
I don't
do that with movies. You do that with movies.
No, I never watched the end before.
You read screenplays years before the movie comes out. What are you talking about?
You dig online. Yeah, you look known for that. Come on, dude.
Well, you're right, but
all right.
I kind of do wish I like just looked at like what's going to happen, like what is this entire story before I watched it, because I don't know if I'm just dumb, but I didn't understand what the fuck was going on. And a half hour in, I just didn't care. So I didn't really enjoy it that much. I got to be honest with you. Boring spectacle. I think Travis nailed it.
I will say, if I could jump in real quick.
Please do.
A note to Christopher, again, if you're listening. Next movie, perhaps let us hear all the audio. I mean, the dialogue is kind of interesting, usually.
It's so true. There's a documentary about Whitney Houston called Can I Be Me on, I think, Prime. It's lousy. I have yet to see a good documentary on her. This one is just, it's funny. Literally, all of her friends and surviving friends and family just like pontificate about what they think her problems were. And it goes on for so long. You're just like nauseated. You're just like imagining the ghost of Whitney Houston being like, you motherfuckers didn't even know me, did you? Can't recommend it. Borg versus McEnroe, I thought was a really well-made movie. I've been burned by tennis movies in the past. Wimbledon and Battle of the Sexes fucked me. But I dug Borg versus McEnroe. Ultimately, kind of a redundant film. If you've seen it, I think you'll know what I'm talking about. But I like the performances and the way it was shot. My top pick is The Nightingale.
Match Point, by the way. Match Point. That's a good movie.
Match Point I did like. My top pick is Jennifer Kent's follow-up to
Babadook.
The Babadook. The Nightingale. It's a revenge story in 1820s. Excuse me?
I'm sorry. I've just been excited to watch it. Continue.
Yeah. It's where did I get it? I watched it on Hulu. It's really fucking good. Like, it's unlike any revenge movie I've ever seen. Usually when you watch a revenge movie, you get like the first 5 minutes, like Straw Dogs, Kill Bill, is like the horrible act. And then the rest is kind of like the protagonist. I don't want to say like having fun getting their revenge, but it's kind of like a popcorn type of stuff. This is the first revenge movie where John Wick, Straw Dog, all this sort of stuff. This is the first revenge movie I've seen that like throughout the entirety, you're feeling the pain of the main character, and it's residual with the character, and you're feeling it. It's fucking really hard to watch, but really also fucking good. I thought it was better than The Babadook.
Huh. Okay. Well, I remember you guys going pretty wild about The Babadook, and I never saw it. It's a scary film, right?
Yeah, psychological grief horror.
Is that a thing? Grief horror?
Does that sell you? Psychological grief horror?
Actually, I am kind of into that. So
the movie is a metaphor for grief. It's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. That's it, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
I find your belief system fascinating.
Well, this week I watched a bunch of stupid ass movies. I went on a Denzel bender after kind of like you, Travis, wasn't there? Was everybody doing it?
I did one.
That was, I think all three of us have been on
we all
a
did.
Denzel bender.
I watched.
I'm on a Denzel bender.
Fuck yeah! I watched Crimson Tide. That was fun. James Gandolfini was Tony Scott's buddy, obviously, with the True Romance. I didn't know the connection because I didn't remember. I saw Crimson Tide once when I was younger, and I just didn't remember it. So it was almost like seeing it new. I enjoyed it. It's classic Tony Scott, endless tension. You know, there's always a showdown. You know, there's always got to be like two sides, and there's 3 Tony Scott movies I can think of where that happens, which is, I don't think that's a coincidence, but it was good. And I watched Virtuosity, which is not very good.
No?
It's Russell Crowe hamming it up. I will say, Russell Crowe's a delight in that.
That was his breakthrough role. That was the one that
it was
on the map.
It was the one in America where he was really like, hey, here it is.
Yeah.
I watched Romper Stomper too to go back to see what broke him through over in Australia, and that was really good. I enjoyed that a lot. So that I was kind of just going off offshoots of people's careers. And I watched a movie called Fallen I had never seen, and boy,
the new one, not
the 98 one.
Fallen. Never seen Fallen?
No, I had never seen it.
I want to tell you about the time I almost died.
Go ahead, light up my life.
This was a movie I completely missed, and I got to tell you, there's a lot going on in this movie. In fact, did you guys like this film? Like, I want to hear your thoughts. Like, was this something you enjoyed back in the day?
This is one that I loved back in the day and watched on my own this year to see does it hold up, and I strongly felt like it still holds up real well.
No shit. Okay.
Yeah.
What did you think, Michael?
So you didn't like it?
Well, I feel like this song kept playing over and over again, and the constant, never-ending.
They did play it quite a bit.
It just kept going.
Line of the film,
non-stop with "This time is on my side." I'm like,
late
why?
motif. I mean, it
was really lame. I'm just like, this isn't funny. I'm not scared. You know, it was just. I don't know. I thought the movie was kind of stupid. I really did. So
you're allowed to think that.
Yeah. But I always I loved everybody in it. You know, Gandolfini and Sutherland, and you never know who's who. And you know, this movie just goes in a direction I didn't expect it to go. So That's fine.
Well, you know what I think of that opinion? You could, stick it up your ass and then put your what is it? I'm sorry, I'm trying to think, like stick your ass with a sandwich. Wait, I'm fucking up the whole quote.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Yeah, you're
the guy's like, you could, it's like you stick the job where the sandwich goes, but that's what I was trying to do.
Oh yeah, that's right. With the when he quits the job,
the guy that looks like Beck,
and Phil, the guy looks like Beck. He's got a Pat's to go bag.
It's part of it shot in my old neighborhood. Yeah.
Did you end up finding out why there's a line between Lions and Spicoli? Am I right?
Actually,
Lions and Spicoli.
Lions and Spicoli, yeah, something like that.
It's like Spikowski.
Anyway, Beck ate that cereal.
Yeah, who gives a fuck? Now, this is deep. If you want to see Fallen, never saw it, I recommend checking it out, but I don't know. I thought it was kind of, it wasn't for me. Is that okay? I mean, we can all have opinions.
Entitled to your truth, brother.
Hey,
truth.
Yeah, there it is. That's definitely.
Much is true.
Protect you from the true.
That's right. There's no true to avoid that. Oh, anyways, that was fun. I also watched a movie called Silkwood, which kind of was an offshoot.
Oh. I've never seen it. Was it good?
It's great. I'd seen it once before, but I wanted to watch it again because part of the movie we'll be talking about, Cloud Atlas, in our Does It Hold Up segment, is related to Halle Berry's storyline. It's based off of the Silkwood experience of her true story.
Oh, this is Meryl Streep, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of Rosewood.
Oh, yeah. No, this is, Silkwood, about the woman who works at the nuclear plant, the plutonium place, and try to expose. So that kind of was like another offshoot. I'm just bouncing off movies. It's kind of fun, That's I watched He Got Game.
I love it so much.
He Got Game.
It's a great movie. It's Spike Lee doing Spike Lee's thing, and Ray Allen is a basketball player who's a really good Hall of Fame NBA player. But he's serviceable. It's not like god awful. He does his job.
Yeah, he's not a great actor, but
no, never. And since I watched Crimson Tide, I went into Patriot Games and started to do a double feature with Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger. And I used to love Patriot Games when I was a kid. It was like one of my personal favorites. But I feel like things have changed a little bit. It's not as good as it once was, and Clear and Present Danger is just. If they had kept these movies to the realism that it actually portrays about CIA work and the government behind the scenes and clandestine warfare, actually a lot of it's legit. But then it's always got to end with Harrison Ford's like the first one, Patriot Games. It ends with him on a boat chase with Sean Bean, and it's just like, okay, this movie's off the rails.
Nope.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's just, and then the second one, he's got to go down there with Willem Dafoe and he's got to be hanging from a helicopter this time to end that one. And it's like, okay, all right, man, we get it. So I don't know.
And I also remember the second one, the big part of the movie is that like the villain's supposed to look just like him, but like it's supposed to be like a Latin Jack Ryan through the whole movie. I'm like, no, he fucking doesn't.
That's right. Yeah.
not a damn thing.
Much different. In fact, if anything, he's much more handsome than Jack Ryan. Yes. So I agree. So the only thing I took away from it was downloading this.
How dare you, sir?
That's it. Otherwise, skip those movies because they're lame. But I do want to say that 28 Days was a piece of shit. So never watch 28 Days with Sandra Bullock. It's fucking terrible. They try to be honest, but it's garbage. And someone who has gone through rehab experiences, I was like, okay, well, maybe this will be cool, It's not.
Michael, I was reading about that because I was on a Viggo Mortensen kick, but I didn't get around to that. But did AA let them in on? Were they involved with the film, or did they bypass it and like wing it?
Well, I don't think they ever would, because one of the traditions is to never, be involved with media and stuff. So they would never give a blessing. If it ever gets shown, it's usually just because somebody wanted to try to keep it real in a film. So I don't know, but I didn't think it was that great. I will say that I did go on a Viggo Mortensen kick myself. I watched Captain Fantastic.
Fucking great movie.
Agreed.
Right?
Oh yeah.
I haven't caught it. I haven't had the time.
Yeah, sorry. Yes, Trent. It's an outstanding film. Really well done. I recommend Captain Fantastic. Came out a few years ago. Recommend it strongly.
Did you watch Carlito's Way?
Did not get a chance to get to Carlito's Way, but I have seen it many times. So don't worry. I'm familiar with Eric sending us pictures of Sean Penn's head. And I did watch for the first time ever. I'd never seen it.
Fuck the bozos.
I'd never seen 12 Monkeys.
Oh shit!
It was the first time.
What is going on? Yeah, I guess again, I was talking about this on the show recently, how like sometimes you have to admit that you haven't seen movies that you really should have seen. So what'd you think?
Oh, I loved it.
Of course you did.
Yeah, I love Terry Gilliam.
Amazing.
I remember when we were all the same age and it came out, we were all going crazy. Everybody was going crazy about 12 Monkeys and everybody see.
Watched it a million times. Look at that.
There you go. Yeah, The Feast. Or I saw people watching it at people's homes, or I was present, but I didn't sit down to like absorb the film. So outstanding. 12 Monkeys. Strongly recommend it with everything I can give it. I watched a movie called The Change Up. This movie's garbage. It's
Jesus.
It's very graphic, which is interesting because it's so graphic. They're willing to go a long way for jokes in this film. It's Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman, and they switch, roles. And
I wanted to like it.
Yeah, I wanted to too. I agree. Apatow's wife is in it. Christ, I'm spacing out her
not
name.
Leslie Mann.
Yeah,
I wanted to say Leslie Stahl, which would have been a very different movie.
Ooh, yeah, that would have been apropos. So anyway, yeah. So overall, and the last one I wanted to mention that I don't think I had seen, The Siege, another Denzel movie with Bruce Willis and Edward Zwick, which I combined some of our recent movies with Zwick and Denzel. And
you sure did, bud.
Yeah, whatever. It came out before 9/11, which is weird because it was like a couple years right before 9/11.
98.
And apparently after the movie came out, there was a huge rental surge in this film. Like everybody started watching this like right after 9/11 on video and DVD, which I'm not really still sure why. Like, why would you want to?
After COVID-19 burst, #1 movie on Netflix was Contagion, which I could not begin to imagine sitting down to watch Contagion still.
I was one of those people because I love Contagion. Yeah, okay, you're right. Look at me. Don't even know what I'm talking about. So yeah.
What are you talking about?
What? I got to see Tenet though, because you guys are just like, man. Hard.
Well, it's finally available for rent on the old Amazon Prime.
I almost don't feel like it's worth it too. It seems like you guys had a hard time and I don't want to get depressed. So I don't know. We'll see if I watch Tenet, but look at this. There's, oh boy, a Cloud Atlas poster is being unfurled. A little mini poster right there.
Yeah, there's being unfurled.
You want that true or what? So yeah, we're gonna get into Cloud Atlas. This is the Cinema 9 Pod, Cinema 9 Pod, protonmail.com. Send us your emails about movies you'd like us to do in the future, or just anything we comment on while you watch live or listen to the podcast in your own free time. All right. Travis Roy chose Cloud Atlas, a 2012 film directed by the Wachowskis and Mr.
Tykwer? Is it Tykwer?
Tykwer?
Yeah.
Tykwer, I think. Tykwer, also known for what's the Run Lola Run, co-creator of Babylon Berlin. Babylon.
Berlin, Babylon. Well, the German government contributed $20 million to this film, so they were clearly involved.
So I think Tom Hanks gave quite a bit of his own money as well. He was quite the driving force behind making this movie happen.
He was, yeah. Tom Hanks, Hugh Grant. I mean, this Halle Berry. We have a large cast, and we're going to dive into this thing. 2012. Does it hold up or not? This is a film that came out more recently, so I think we could probably all recall our memories of watching it. Travis, I'm sure you have yours ready to go.
I got the poster I just showed you guys at the movie theater, and I went, oh, I'll take that. And I did not see it in theaters. I do wish now that I had, but I thought it looked weird and maybe dumb, so I didn't watch it. And also like Tom Hanks, like in a sci-fi ensemble, like I couldn't get my head around it. So I was just like, I'm like, oh, maybe. I was kind of like, we'll see. Okay. So when it came out, my roommate at the time when I was living in West Virginia, he this is probably the last person to ever do this, gave me like a burned copy on a CD like of this movie in 2012. I guess that was still a thing that sometimes happened. That's so cool. I took it to my girlfriend's house and we were watching it. And, it's a 2 hour and 51-minute movie. Well, a tick over 2 hours into the movie, the burned copy, the pirated copy failed. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now? You know what I did? I put my girlfriend and her kids in the car and drove our asses up to Walmart, bought the damn thing, went home, and finished it.
You weren't going to let it go.
No way. I went back and bought it and I finished it, and that was a copy I watched the night before last.
Fuck
and
me, that is one of those hardcore efforts I've ever heard of. Well done.
I mean, over 2 hours into a movie, I was gonna fucking finish it. And it's one I've watched a few times since, but it's been quite a few years since I've seen it. But I know it to be a divisive movie, and I figured I would see what y'all, run up the flag post, see who saluted.
Okay, all right, very cool. Eric Bransham,
You want the true?
give us the breakdown. What's the true on this film? Do you remember your first experience with it? Because it probably was pretty recent.
Yeah, it was last night. I was in a cover box for like 8 years, and I was like, what is this? Tom Hanks, like space sci-fi? This looks stupid. I can't pull the trigger. I could not get into it. I couldn't do it for so many years until last night, even with the Wachowskis. Well, I mean, that was one of the things about it, too, because past 8 years, the Wachowskis, let me make sure I get this right.
Sister.
Siblings. Okay. Can I say siblings?
They are siblings.
No.
Yeah.
Don't cancel me. I mean, Speed Racer, Jupiter Ascending, the track record.
We're going to do Jupiter Ascending next time. It's my turn. Don't worry.
I stayed away. I stayed away from the team, the filmmaking team, and that cover box. I couldn't do it. So last night was the first viewing, and too bad my copy didn't stop after 2 hours, because my prayers would have been answered.
Uh-oh. That sounds like a little bit of a teaser, and not a very good one.
Kind of subtle. Right. I don't know what it means. Dog chewing on something?
The first time I saw this movie was about 4 or 5 years ago. I saw it at home. Just hadn't had a chance to watch it, and someone, it may have been you even, Travis, people were saying, it's a good movie. Check it out. So I finally sat down and watched it, and I was mesmerized. I was like, whoa, this is quite an experience. It really was. I knew it was long, but I was still pretty engrossed in it. It moves very fast, despite its length.
It moves along at a clip. Yeah, I agree. It
really does. So I enjoyed it, and I started telling other people, hey, have you ever seen Cloud Atlas? Check it out. So it was pretty recent. It was just me in my bed about 5 years ago, probably high on opioids. But, I still remember it. It happened. It was very, very memorable. That's how I took this movie in. But going back in time, which is not that far, to 2012, and this movie is about time, by the way, in case you guys didn't know, for those that are listening to this that have never seen it, which doesn't make sense. Again, at this point in our show, I hope people don't do that. But do you know the score? Did you guys look it up on IMDb?
I didn't look it up.
Ooh.
I did. I could not believe my fucking eyes.
Oh, by the way, Eric, I figured either Eric has seen this movie and hates this movie, or Eric has never seen this movie and will hate this movie.
Hate it.
Yeah, okay. Because you don't really. I mean, you don't really. Never mind. I don't want to tell you how you are. I just like you.
How am I not myself?
I just you don't really like things that push convention. I feel like you don't respond well to unless it's super palatable. In which case, it's not really pushing conventions that much. In my opinion of you as a film going friend, you tend to shy away from things that are weird.
You condescending prick.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
That's and the true right there, man.
We'll talk about it.
You from the true.
Starring Tom Hanks as Ray Winstone as this fucking gangster guy.
Hugo Weaving is Hugh Grant as Tom Hanks, who's Halle Berry meets Ben Whishaw. No, okay. Travis, what's the score then? Give us a shot. What do you think?
I mean, I personally would rate it higher, probably, but my expectation is that people, I think this movie goes over most people's heads. I'm going to say, including Eric's, especially Eric's, I'm going to say 5.5.
5.5? Wow.
Oh, fuck it. Yes, that's your answer.
Wow.
That's your answer to everything.
It's actually 7.4, Travis. 7.
That's fantastic.
Isn't that wonderful?
That makes me very happy.
Yay!
That does surprise me. That surprised me. I can imagine a lot of people getting on in spite and going down there to, write their little message about how they didn't like it.
Opinion? Didn't understand it.
It has a lot of. It's like you said, Travis. It has a lot of big time names, including the directors. So it attracted enough attention because it has almost 400,000 ratings. That's a lot. That's a lot more than a lot of films we've done.
Wow. Yeah, that's a hell of a score for a lot of ratings.
You should know that you're in good company, Travis. So, right. And maybe I am too. But on Rotten Tomatoes, things changed a little bit. Sure. Critics 66%. Even though this was somewhat of a critical darling for some people, It's a dead heat, though. 66 and 66 from the audience and the critics. Dead even.
Yeah. Again, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, this was a bomb when it came out, and people generally like. It's the kind of movie that, in my experience, like mostly like Madison, Brian, who was on last week, excited about the movie. People that I know for the most part, like cinephiles, into the movie, and then most folk, maybe hadn't even heard of it, even with the cast.
Yeah, that's the true. No doubt about it. Normally, on some of the movies we've done, especially if they're older, there's only like 3 pages of reviews. This movie has 15 different pages of reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a shitload. I think that's far and away the most of any movie we've done so far. That's a lot.
But again, like I can imagine, people have an opinion. People have opinions about this movie, and I look forward to discussing yours, Eric. I'm giving you a hard time, but obviously, we want you to speak your true.
Well, boy, I don't know where to start. I'm looking for our standards, but there's a huge mix of splats and red tomatoes among the critics. Allison Wilmore of Movie Line says, Cloud Atlas walks a crooked line between the glorious and the ridiculous. Its reach encumbered by sensible decisions or restraint.
What a review. Stoned as fuck.
Peter Travers, our old pal Rolling Stone, says, for all the spectacular settings and visionary designs, Cloud Atlas left me feeling disconnected. Eric,
Sorry.
do you feel that?
I don't disagree with them. Listen, my first viewing was a lot different than my half of viewing that I tried to squeeze in today because, spoiler alert, I've been thinking about it all day. So there you go.
Oh, okay. Well, that's positive.
It'll creep in there.
It will. Richard Roper, because Mr. Ebert died by the time this movie came out, says it's a polarizing, ambitious, sometimes beautiful, and occasionally maddening epic. 4 out of 5 stars, though.
That's a pretty solid review.
Yeah, I think that encompasses a great percentage of it. I was just trying to find our good man Desson, but like I said, there's a ton of reviews. Mr. Desson Thompson! But if he quit, if he resigned by this point and stopped reviewing movies, then maybe we won't get one.
He was working for the Obama administration by this point, remember?
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. How is this possible? When did Roger Ebert die? 2009?
I don't know.
Roughly? Right?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Apparently,
it was like 2013, man.
Oh, 2013? Okay, so he did review this film. Surely, this is one of the most ambitious films ever made. 4 out of 4 stars.
Especially in terms of narrative. It's hands down. Storyline-wise, I can't imagine a more ambitious movie than this.
Hell no. It's
not even close.
No. And it's amazing that the directors were able to work together with just 2 different units, breaking up what do we have? 6 different like worlds? Yeah,
there's like 6 stories that are essentially taking place in 6 different timelines or time zones from 1849 to 2321.
Right. Okay. By the way, did you ever read the book, Travis?
I wish that I had. I probably never will. It's fiction and me are distant. We're distant memories now. Unfortunately, it's the life of a historian.
Okay. Well, could we just get it right to this then? Because I want to know what the opinions are, because it is 2021. And I know that this would be a topic. You got a lot of people playing different roles, playing different ethnicities that they aren't representative of and trying to fit in with fake noses galore, which is ridiculous, right?
Some of these rubber noses really don't work, especially early in the movie. Like Susan Sarandon pops up with a full-on fucking witch nose. And you're like, come on, couldn't you have saved this a little bit later? This is more than distracting.
The same thing happens with Halle Berry being Vivian Ayre's wife. It's like this nose is on everybody they're trying to hide who might be blatantly themselves as the other person they're trying to be. So,
and it's funny because there's actually like some amazing makeup going on here. I believe it may have even been nominated for best makeup. I think. Don't quote me on that. There's some really amazing makeup going on here. Like when Halle Berry shows up as the old Korean man at one point, like you never could tell. You would never know. But at the same time, then you got all these fucking rubber beaks coming out and just like amateur hour. You're like, what the fuck is happening? Why? You could have done more here.
Yeah.
Until you get used to it. That first like 15 minutes for me was like Norbit, like level ridiculousness with these fucking prosthetics.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty bad for.
Well,
Maybe they ran tight on money. We do know that, but it's a $100 million fixture too.
Yeah, I'll disagree with a couple points though. I think that because it starts and you see grizzled old Zachary played by Tom Hanks, and I think that makeup looks good, and I think that
it does
like that. Like from the start, you're like, holy fuck, it's a transformation. This is amazing.
Yeah,
and then the movie starts, and you're like, oh, Hugh Grant looks really. That's not so bad. That's not so bad. And then Susan Sarandon shows up, and you're just like, this is trash. But Mike, I imagine you were going. Were you perhaps going to suggest that there's something that might make people like uncomfortable about race in this movie?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm off base here, but would this movie gotten made if it was 2019?
I think yeah.
In the same way, I mean, not like no role changes or anything, like because they're trying to make a point too. It's not like they're trying to purposely put white people in other ethnicities in this film. It's supposed to be about a strain and our genetic DNA and our storylines and people connected to people onward and onward through history. It's not like they're blatantly trying to be dicks.
Yeah, I have strong feelings about this because this is not caricature. This is not. No one's in blackface or whiteface or yellowface or any kind of face.
Right. This isn't Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell.
Right. This isn't Mike Myers in Love Guru. This is even though some of them are a little awkward, but I mean, like they're doing more than transcending race; they're transcending gender. I mean, some of the least good prosthetics is Hugo Weaving as a woman, not very convincing.
You don't like the nurse at the Aurora house?
Jokes. I mean, I think
Mr. Cavendish.
I actually think his performance is outstanding, and I think the body work that they did is really good too. Just the face is kind of unconvincing.
She's a big, healthy woman.
Yeah, that's true. But so the whole point of the movie, I mean, the movie is not about you're following these souls. You're following souls throughout this movie. The whole movie is about resurrection and past lives and future lives and that kind of stuff. So like and it's supposed to be about the connective beyond that absolutely transcends humanity and race and all that stuff. I can absolutely, like, anyone that would be uncomfortable about this movie, I'm not going to sit here and argue with them that they should not be.
Right.
But in my opinion, I feel like this movie gets a weird and rare pass because what they're trying to do with these characters and with this story is to show the ways that we are bound together, and it works for me. Even though
they're also making non-whites white people too. So it goes every angle. They're not. I don't know. It's uniform. Eric, what's your thoughts on this?
Did the Asians look like J.B.J. Abrams' Vulcans in his Star Trek films? Yes, but I agree with Travis. It wasn't a problem of the people being in like Asian face or black face, and they didn't have the guts to put make someone black, and I think that was probably a purposeful choice.
Yeah, that's probably
but if you're gonna dip your toe in the water, you might as well go swimming. But I didn't have a problem with it. A lot of them looked dumb. Like when Hugo Weaving's the woman, am I like invested in the story and like, oh, watch out for the nurse? No, I'm like thinking the entire time, look at how silly Hugo Weaving looks. And that for me caused a lot of the problems on that first viewing. That's why I kind of do want to take another look at it, because all I was thinking was, look at the dumb makeup. What is this, fucking Norbit? The entire time. It took a while for me to get used to it. I got to be honest with you.
What about the story of the old people, getting out of Aurora House, united together? I love seeing like people in their 70s or 80s coming together and escaping this home. Yeah, I love Mr. Meeks, and he stands up in the bar for the Scotsman against the English. There's so many levels of different things going on and so many scenes. It's hard to get your mind around what the focus of this movie is at times. At least for me, Travis. I mean, I like this movie, but I still don't know what the purpose is. I get the basic idea there's some type of connection of humanity, but I really don't know.
Can I break the connection down, at least in not?
Yes, please.
I mean, I can't break them. Like, there's obviously the movie suggesting there's connections in humanity, and I've already made that point. But
I would not be subjected to criminal abuse.
That's really important to the story, because there's a connective tissue that runs through this movie, and it's not just. All right, so there's a few points that are made. She says, Somni says, we are our lives are not our own.
Yeah.
From tomb to womb, we are bound to others.
In the womb.
Yeah, it's a little cheesy, but it makes sense. I mean, we are bound. Our lives aren't just our own. We affect the people in our lives. We're affected by people who've never met us, who we've never met, that we'll never know of, who lived hundreds of years ago, and our actions might affect those hundreds of years from now. For all we know, as little as our lives may seem to us, and this is the way it works. We got Adam Ewing's story on the ship in 1849. He's in the Pacific. He's being conned by this character, this Dr. Goose, played by Tom Hanks, and maybe one of his more fun roles that he probably had.
Breaking on his lady killer's character.
A little bit. But an act of kindness, which again, Somni talks about, like these small acts of kindness and the importance that they have. This act of kindness of feeding the escaped slave, of making the introduction to the crew. Ultimately, it leads to his own life being saved. But otherwise, he would die by the hand of the doctor. And since he survives, he's able to write his journal. And that journal gets published as the Pacific Journal of Adam Ewing. Flash forward almost 100 years later, Robert Frobisher is in this position where he's in this weird job with Vivian, whatever, and he's trying to keep himself sane to a degree, and he reads only half of the journal of Patrick Ewing, of Adam Ewing. But we don't. But like we get an impression that he says it's like his only saving grace at one point, that it's like keeping him sane. It is influencing him to some degree as he writes the magnum opus of his life, which is the Cloud Atlas Sextet. And then he dies, right? And then we move on to 1973, and we get Louisa Ray's story. Louisa Ray connects with Sixsmith, who from him she learns about the Cloud Atlas suite, which she then listens to, loves, finds beautiful. She connects with it immediately. I know I've heard it before. There's no way you could have heard it before, but I know I have. She probably hasn't, but she has this immediate connection with her. She goes on to not just survive this story, but to write her own mystery novels, the mysteries of the Louisa Ray mysteries, which is barely hinted at in the book, or in the movie, but we get a glimpse of it because Cavendish is reading one of her books when he's at one point in the movie.
Yeah, and it's written by the kid.
It's written by the kid, Gonzalez, right? So this connection. These stories are connected. Like it's art that's connecting us as human beings here so far. And some of this stuff, like the sextet, hardly anybody ever heard, right? But and also like the story that Cavendish read, like he doesn't even talk to him. He's a very self-absorbed man, but like he probably internalizes it to some degree, like the sleuthing and the fortitude that Louisa Ray has, and he uses this to get out of his ghastly, the ghastly period or the ghastly ordeal of Timothy Cavendish, and then he writes his own novel, right? That novel gets made into a movie. One little snip from that movie. Go ahead, Mike. What's the line?
I will not be subjected to criminal abuse.
In the year 2144, that one line, that one moment inspires someone who inspires someone else, who ends up sparking a revolution and becoming a messiah and worshipped as a goddess, who then influences someone else almost 200 years later to simply do the right thing and be a good person. It's that to me, that's the connection. It's not just our lives, it's the art that we create, even as inconsequential as it may seem in our own lives. We can impact, these ripples can influence throughout all time, and in that way we can be immortal and make lives better, hopefully better for those that come after us.
Well, Tom Hanks can do it better than I can.
I will not be subjected to criminal abuse.
And he storms out of the Cavendish reimagining, which apparently is like a story within a story about, his experience that Somni's absorbing. It's just fascinating. I find that the movie's pace moves so fast with all these stories connected that the first time I watched it, I wasn't bored. I was rather amused and curious, trying to pay attention the first time I watched it. That Eric, you weren't paying attention so much as you were like disconnected by some of the things you saw.
No, I was paying attention. I understood all of the themes and everything that was going on. I just thought it was Structurally, it was a little. I don't want to say sloppy because I say that all the time. Structure is sloppy. It's clunky. It's this. It's that. It vomits so much in that first 5 minutes. If it's one of these movies that if it doesn't hook into you in that first maybe 5-10 minutes, you're gonna have a hard time maybe sticking with it and being able to appreciate it.
That's why we're told in the beginning to be patient, right? Cavendish says.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. Hey, be patient. Trust me, you'll like this movie. Okay, great. Yeah, we'll see. I'll take my own opinion on it. But like I say, it is resonating with me because of the overarching themes. The transmigration type of stuff you're talking about, Travis, is interesting, and I think it's done well. But yeah, one thing I didn't get was the whole like. This madcap like escaped the nursing home. Did the Asian character in the future see that movie and was inspired by some like weird ass silly madcap old man out of a nursing home? Like, oh, here we go.
No, it's just the one scene. It was caught in the loop that influenced her friend, who the guy jerks off ketchup or mayo all over her back. She's actually kind of. She's kind of like shy and like, into the whole, like, we don't break the rules thing. It's her friend who is influenced first by the movie that in turn influences her.
Okay.
She's still not inspired. She's still not inspired until she sees the Soylent Green moment, which is also referenced in the film, which is fun, right? And Cavendish is originally trying to escape. Soylent Green! People!
It reminded me a lot of that movie, Being Human. Remember that movie with Robin Williams where he goes through all those lifetimes?
Yeah, I could definitely see that connection with John Turturro in there.
Yeah.
I like this better, but I agree that's probably one of the few movies that could possibly compare in terms of
Really? Okay. Yeah, I've never seen that one. We're talking about Cloud Atlas. I hope you watch the film before you listen to this because this movie is deep. I recommend watching it twice. I really do. If you've never seen it before and you happen upon this show, do a double dip, watch it by yourself, maybe watch with some people. It's a great discussion piece at bare minimum, and that's why I think Travis made a good choice. Regardless of how the end of this segment comes out, this is a great movie to break down because there's so much going on. I mean, we could easily talk about this movie for 5 hours. We could.
But at the same time, like, I actually took a lot less notes than usual and like set my pen down for most of it and just kind of let it wash over me, because like again, like you said, like this movie moves pretty quick. Like you're kept pretty much at I feel a pretty suspenseful speed. Like it's every now and then it gives us like these dips and we get to like sit with one character for a while and kind of breathe. And then we get back in this moment. And the two movies I kept thinking of the most watching this was Boogie Nights and Magnolia. Actually, the scenes, like the climax scenes, like the whole the bell scene, the ringing bell scene in Boogie Nights, the donut shop scene, or like the climax towards the climax of Magnolia, where all these different stories are being weaved together at once, and we're getting them in like snippets here and there. But like that works in Magnolia. That we get like maybe 5-10 minutes of this. This movie is like, hey, how about 50 minutes straight of that? but it works. Like the movie's like a fever dream. Like it just kind of like falls on you, and then when it's over, like like I just kind of like hit stop and then just kind of like sat there. Even though I've seen this movie like 6 times or whatever, and like I still had like sit up and be like, I gotta think for a minute.
It's so fucking ambitious, and the scope is it's massive that I refuse to say I liked the movie or that it was a good film just because it's so big. It's $100 million, so the money's got to go somewhere. So I can't just be like, oh, it's so big, it's so grand. We got all these storylines and they're interconnected. So did Crash, and Crash fucking sucked. So I can't just give it the pass because of the scope and the interweaving storylines. I had to stop and think, is each one of these storylines like interesting to me or something that I really haven't seen before? Maybe not so much for me personally, but like I said, I am kinder here in this second viewing. I'm looking at it right now, and these colors are gorgeous. The cinematography by John Toll, who shot Legends of the Fall that we took a look at a few weeks ago, is just spellbindingly beautiful. The production design is off the chart. So this is a really gorgeous film to look at.
And to me, it's clearly just a playground for these actors who were given carte blanche to just have themselves a real nice time exploring these characters. And I have a lot of fun watching actors enjoy their craft. But again, like it's not like your points are well taken. But for me, like the reason this movie works so well is because of the emotional layers. All this other stuff, it matters. It's good. It matters. But the emotional depth of this movie and the ways that it kind of challenges you morally, because I kind of feel like a lot of the movie you're trying to watch Tom Hanks's soul, his character, move up a step. There's the Isaac character that he is as where he's a nuclear physicist where he seems like a decent guy, but pretty much throughout the rest of the movie, he's a predator. And but also kind of like at the same time can sometimes show like the capacity for more. Like even when he is Frobisher's innkeeper, he actually like he helps him out, but it's still like for a bribe. But slow. And so by the time he like gets the weapon out and is going to kill, what's her name, Minoma or whatever her name is, like you actually that was seen before. I'm like it's weird. Like he really could kill him. He's got old Georgie in the ear, which to me, that's my favorite performance in the movie. I know it's an easy one. It's an easy favorite. But man, Hugo Weaving as the devil is just a perfect casting. It's such a weird devil. But
no blade can protect you from the true.
That's 4 times. Okay. So yeah, to me the movie resonates emotionally.
Yeah, and I'm digging what you're saying because that predacity is one of the big elements of the movie that I love, because in every one of these little vignettes, there's this predator trying to bring you down. And right. For every soul, they have this challenge where they have to, there's this causality there where they have to defeat it and move on. But one of the elements I like and is really starting to resonate with me more and more as the day goes on, because I just saw it last night, is that each one of these people, yes, they defeat the evil, but it reminds you, or at least me, I should say, that you cannot defeat evil. It's impossible, but you can defeat the evil that's in someone's heart. All right. And it's one person at a time sort of thing. And I think that's what I kind of got most of the movie.
Ah, okay. Well, that makes sense.
In my life, you better know the truth and never tell them the whole truth.
See, he was never telling the whole true. That's why he was so pissed, because Halle Berry's character, what do they call it? The Prescience, thanks. They're always coming down, and there's like this uneasy alliance between them. And I start fast forward through some of those parts when they're there. Although I don't know if we've mentioned this yet, Hugh Grant as the cannibal, changed. I think me and Travis have talked about this before. Like changed my view of Hugh Grant. I was like, look at this fucking guy.
Yeah,
when
he's good. It's the weird creep.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
The Kona tribe, and also the other guy that I don't know what the actor's name, but the one that plays the critic that Tom Hanks throws out the window. He ends up being the guy that
Felix fucking Finch.
Yeah, Felix fucking Finch. Yeah, he ends up being Hugh Grant's the second in command and he does a really good job as well. The Kona tribe, extremely creepy.
Very creepy, but I actually find myself on this viewing when Felix Finch, spoiler, gets thrown off the building by fucking Moppet or whatever the fuck his Eric Dermot Muggins
Muggins.
Did you have a problem with Hank's Cockney accent? Where do you rank it? Is it like Dick Van Dyke Band, or what'd you think of that whole thing?
Tom Hanks does a good job in the film with all of the characters, but I'm gonna be honest. This is my opinion. Take it or leave it. He's miscast as every single one of his characters. I think a different actor could have done a better job in every single one of these roles.
Wow. I really couldn't disagree more. Especially as Zachary. I think he's great as Zachary. In the future, the character.
Yeah, I like him. I like the Bozo Doctor even. I like that kind of Hanks. I loved Lady Killers and his role in it too. So whenever he gets that draw or any type of goofy character where he changes he can morph himself. I thought the Cockney, bad guy, British streets gang scumbag was the biggest stretch of all the roles, but I actually wanted to be more immersed in that world. When he throws Felix Finch over the roof, I was like, oh, I want to stay here. That was my takeaway from this recent viewing, is I wanted more from this storyline, but it immediately goes away from that because Timothy's going to be on the run. Like when they show up, his his scumbags come when he's on the toilet, pulling the Lebowski moment and putting the plunger in his mouth. I love. I love that. Well, they all laugh about the law. The law. So funny.
Did you guys have a problem with because each one of these like the part I ended up writing down is when the old dudes are leaving the nursery home, and it's literally like silly hijinks, and then like a second later it cuts back to the 70s like hard-boiled chase, and it's like, for me, it's like, you can't make me laugh at this stupid shit and then had me be like, oh, here we go again with this serious pot-boiled thriller.
Well, I actually kind of disagree about the frivolity of the Cavendish line, because to me, I mean, it is kind of goofy a little bit. Like there is.
Yeah, I don't see that way either. I agree, Travis.
There is. There is a little bit more goofiness to it than some of the other storylines, particularly like I guess Mr. Makes
or Neo Soul. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no. To me, like I agree strongly that one of the major themes of this movie is that the weak are meat and the strong do eat, and so like they have to constantly there's always this oppressor that they have to fight against. But there's also like this theme of imprisonment. And sometimes it seems really obvious, like what that imprisonment is, and sometimes it's a little less obvious. But like that storyline, I think, is tragic. When they're calling that fake, they fake the death of the one mother, and the family is like, ugh, we don't want to. Do we have to do this now? And then they're like, yeah, the will. And it's like, oh, fine, fuck it. Like clearly, these people, like, it's a sad situation for them, and yeah, I actually put it's kind of I think it's a little higher stakes for me than it is for you, I guess, is my long way of going about saying this.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I know it's more hijinks because they're on the run, but they're also terrified. These people are they show up and it's like, oh, they're fucked. And if you've never seen it before, I remember being much more concerned. And I know they show the shot where they watch the tooth fly into Cavendish's beer, and so yeah, they're preying on some old routines about the British versus the Scots and some of that stuff, but I didn't care because I love the 70s scene. It's might be my favorite. I love Hugh Grant being this this American scumbag, the face of the nuclear power plant and the oil industry, and everybody involved in it. Halle Berry she's outstanding. I cannot believe I know this movie was 8 years ago, but she still looks incredible in every role she's in this film. She is talented and beautiful, and I just like watching her in just about anything except Catwoman. But this movie is I can understand your frustration, Eric, and maybe I should have thought about that more. Like, hey, I'm the kind of guy who likes to jump to things, though. I like to keep moving, and it keeps my attention. I'm cool with that, but maybe it is a stretch. I don't know. I'd have to question myself because I don't have a good answer to you why I like the pacing and this movie overall. Why do I? I don't know. I'm not sure why.
I wish we could have all talked after we all first saw it, because I'm more affectionate to it here in my second viewing, because I just never seen anything like it. So it was coming at me so fast, and the tone was shifting so much that my ADD once again caught up with me. But for me, there was some tonal issues.
So, Mike, you're saying that the 1970s Louisa Ray is your favorite storyline?
I think so.
Eric, did you have a favorite storyline or no?
My favorite story was the Pacific Islands 1840s stuff.
Okay.
The shot when Tua, I think his name was, swinging around on the ropes trying to prove himself to be a crew member. That's like jaw-dropping photography.
Yeah, like stop him from shooting him and stuff.
Yeah. And it's just like I like the simplicity of the story there. Strong message, but I think it was told exactly how enough in as much as with brevity that it needed to get that message across. Where some of the other installments for me were a little bit more obtuse, namely the Neo Seal stuff. For me, I could have made an interesting feature film in of its own, but for me, it got a little bulky for the rest of the material here.
That's one of the fun things to me about it is each one of these could have been expanded a little more and really been their own whole movie. But for me, my favorite storyline is the Hawaiian apocalypse. The the Zachary and the True and it's definitely my
Are
favorite.
you shitting me? Really? Wow.
Oh
okay.
yeah, no, hands down. Because of the Kona tribe, because of the weird performances, because of the turnaround of like him watching his brother-in-law get his throat slit and his nephew get killed, and then like the struggle, this moral struggle that Zachary has through the whole thing, where it's like 'cause the only real good that he does is for his niece. Like he's pretty selfish guy. But he cares about his niece, and then you watch him become a better person throughout that. There's a good arc there, and it's also like I don't know, pretty wacky and weird culmination of all of these stories that leads to like when they actually walk through and like the corpses of Neo's soul and all that stuff, which is a little weird because where the fuck is Neo's soul if they're in Hawaii and he's taking her there? Like his soul no longer in Korea.
Right.
That's probably the biggest issue I have with the movie is like that geography lesson that needs
There's
to be taught
12
to me.
states and 4 off-world colonies. That's all. That's all I know.
But yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know that this is a frustrating movie for you, Eric, and we appreciate you. I know that I will be curious to see what you'll think of it again on a second viewing, and I hope you give us that chance down the road. You don't have to now because you're off the hook. You never have to watch this movie again if you don't want to, as far as I know.
True.
But
True.
is the star power true? Is the star power of this film? Is that one of the
Detriment?
things? Yeah.
Is it a detriment?
No. Is it? I think maybe it allows the film to get more praise than maybe it deserves because it's got all these big time actors in it. It does. I mean, these are heavy hitters. Not all of them, but some of them are best of the best. 4 Academy Award winners alone in this film.
We almost had Natalie Portman and Ian McKellen in it as well. But for my money, James Darcy is probably I think doing some of the best work here after Tom. I got Tom Hanks, but James Darcy who plays Sixsmith. I thought just really compelling work. I love him as the archivist, and even though he's got some pretty intensive prosthetics going on, but when what's her name when Somni tells him he's like, well, she's like, someone already does believe me. And just like that he has like such good responses in those interview scenes, because he doesn't have as much to say, but you see him start off as a professional and gets persuaded throughout the course of the interview, and it's seconds of these shots over 3 hours that you're getting of this guy all over the place, and yet you still get walked through that character, this minor character whose name we never even learn. Yeah. I still feel like you get this sense of this guy who's like, I'm just doing my part and I'm just going to learn and this is my job. And then actually being this guy ends up being a prophet. It's him that ends up spreading her confession. There's no other way that information gets out there. We know now, which ends up being the religion in the future. And there's so many, I got goosebumps. The more I think about this movie, every time I think about this movie, there's some new little facet that you can just dive into and plug it into the rest of it and being like, oh, that's awesome. It all connects.
So what about it though? That's all fine and good. I like that, Travis, but is the star power giving this movie more props than it deserves, Eric?
The star power? I think you need good actors to hold interest in this. Otherwise, it could be a complete disaster. If you have all this shit going on, a lot of people had a hard time understanding the dialogue and keeping up with it, and bad performances, it would have been an absolute goddamn nightmare. But we have great performances. I agree. I think James Darcy, who's this guy, does the strongest work in the picture. Did he play the Keanu Reeves cosplayer guy too in the future?
No, the one who's with Somni is the super Bond of the time.
No, that was Jim Sturgis, I think.
Yeah, I think it's Sturgis.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't tell, man. You're right. I couldn't tell the difference between certain people.
Yeah, that's the thing that I like is that sometimes it's someone it's another actor for the movie because you can tell it's like a person in prosthetics, but you're like, I'm not actually sure they're there.
And then they just show up randomly in parts. Ben Wishaw's character is when Halle Berry's character is the prescience showing off fusion engine.
Listening to it.
Fusion. He's just there sitting on the floor. Oh, it's Ben Whishaw. There he is.
Right,
Okay.
or James D'Arcy, like in Cavendish's ordeal, like it shows him like look up once, like he's like an orderly, like shows him just look up. That's it. You just see him for like half a second.
Yeah.
I mean, did all that distract you? I mean, you're trying to follow the story, then it's like, oh, that's Hugo Weaving. Oh, look, they made him into with this.
These are multiple viewings too, though.
Yeah, I could see where it could distract others, but again, like to me, like the movie starts off and it's like again, like it's not subtle. It's like past lives, future lives. So like these things are being like bandied about early on. So like it's pretty easy to figure out that you're like following different actors and different performances. So no, I didn't find it distracting because it's just to me it just. So since I haven't read the book, I'm really curious how Beyond the Comet birthmark, which doesn't really work on film, but I'm curious beyond that, like how they connect the souls from story to story, because in the movie you could really tell kind of who's who because of the actors playing them, but like I feel like that element must be missing from the book. You know what I mean? But in the movie, I think it really drives home a really powerful point about the connections over time and human nature.
I think I read that in the book, it's all dependent on that birthmark. And whoever has the birthmark is that particular soul and stuff. I mean, let's be honest. You're not going to have the same features if you're a different person along the lineage of your time. But
but I kind of got the impression that like the similar features were just for us as viewers to like be able to,
definitely.
I didn't get the comment thing at all, the birthmark thing. I'm like, okay, what's the connection other than like time and souls and yada yada?
I have a theory, which I think it runs contrary to the book. But if in the book, as Eric said, like the comet is supposed to represent one soul, that's clearly not what's happening in the movie, right? So my theory in the movie is that the comet represents kind of like a linchpin soul in that timeline. Maybe not with the importance of all of humanity or something like that, but certainly in the importance of the Cloud Atlas network of souls. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can dig that.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
Because each one of the six, they each have it. It shows every one of them at a different point in each timeline. Each person, and it's a protagonist of each timeline, and they're the one that's each time that has to like overcome something and like do good.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
I dig that.
I mean, I had nothing, so I'll take it. I don't even have a theory, but as we're getting about to that time here. Cloud Atlas wrap up. Does it hold up? I don't know. Who wants to go first this week?
I'll go ahead and go first since I picked this, and I think that my opinion's pretty obvious from the start. When I pick a movie that I haven't seen in 20 years, the question might be a little more, will this hold up for me? I'm not as sure, but I was pretty sure that I would still feel good about this, and I do. Is this a flawed movie? Abso-fucking-lutely. There's all kinds of things that I could sit here and pick apart. The rubber noses, some of that kind of stuff. But these themes, this kind of stuff that we've been talking about, these universal transcendent themes are so awesome, and the blending of these genres all into one cohesive, at least in my opinion, movie. I mean, we have a sort of like a period drama, and then you have a straight up like romance drama, and then you have some sort of like thriller mystery thing going on. Then you got a straight up like sci-fi and then another sci-fi. I mean, it's pretty wild. So to me, I like a movie that makes me think differently about movies. It makes me think differently about life. That takes chances. So for me, obviously, this movie holds up, and I strongly recommend it.
There it is, clear as day. Let's have Eric go next, because then we'll find out where we stand.
Okay. Well, like I said, it's hardly the most accessible film you're going to run into in your lifetime or the next lifetime, no pun intended. But there's a lot to enjoy here. You got a beautiful score by one of the co-directors himself, if I saw that correctly.
You did.
You've got, interesting musings on stuff like transmigration and transcendentalism, and like crooked timber type stuff when it comes to the perfectibility of humanity that I can dig. And a lot of that you have to put into that stuff on your own based on your own understandings of philosophy and that sort of thing. While I'm watching it, I'm a little frustrated. In fact, I'm a lot frustrated. A lot of the times I'm not even really enjoying myself, but a second viewing I think is definitely in order if you're at least curious with taking this on. You got interesting performances. You've got gorgeous cinematography. When that car crash sequence, I'd never seen a car crash sequence quite like that. I thought it was gorgeous. And you've got cool stuff like Hugo Weaving as a fucking evil leprechaun saying nonsense in your ear. So I applaud the effort of it. First viewing wasn't for me, but I'm looking forward to seeing it again one day when all is said and done. Holds up.
It holds up.
Surprised me.
Wow. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that coming at all. That's the most surprising announcement I've ever heard from you on the show, Eric. I must say, I like this movie. I like watching it. When I threw it on, I watched it twice this week just to double check. And because I'm like, oh, what else can I look for in this film? Because once you watch it the first time and you want to watch it again, you can start looking for a lot of other things throughout each storyline, and you don't have to focus so much on what's happening because you know what will happen, and that makes it easier for you to, get some more Easter eggs, or just look around. And I enjoyed it. I actually didn't enjoy it as much on the second viewing as I did the first one because I hadn't watched it in a couple years. But it certainly, to me, holds up because it's a movie about humanity, and I really like the idea. It gives me hope, I guess, to hang on to the concept of these insignificant moments that can be poo-pooed by cynics actually have meaning and value in future lives that you will never maybe even know about, which is kind of cool. It kind of brings significance to maybe the most on the surface, meaningless life. So I like that idea. And for me, that's the kind of movie I'd like to watch. And, we've covered it already, and it could probably be covered in more detail and maybe criticized further about the makeup and, the different role changes and does it really work? And I mean, you got Hugo Weaving and Hugh Grant are both bad guys throughout the films, I believe. Like they're always scumbags.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of the whole thing about the souls. I think you get a sense that Halle Berry's soul is a good soul throughout. You get a sense that Jim Sturgis' soul is a good soul throughout.
That's true.
But you definitely see Tom Hanks struggle. What's her name? June Bay. I'm not sure if Dune Bay. I think her name's Dune Bay. She's a little bit more.
It's Bay Duna.
Bay Duna. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty gentle. She's not she's certainly not bad or good. She's fairly just gentle throughout most of it but she'll fight back if you kill her dog. She'll fucking blow your head off. Which also, real quick, Bill Smoke is such a good name for a hitman. It's just
and Keith David looks fucking badass in that leather coat, by the way.
And he's kind of a protector throughout all of them, because he's in it a little. Some of them are in it less, right? Like Keith David's not in every single thing, but everything that he's in, he serves like this important kind of protector kind of role.
Same thing for Gaisi, the guy who plays the
Darcy.
Runaway Slave. No, David Gaisi.
Yeah. So like there seems like some souls have like a continuity, good or bad, and some are like trying to change.
Yep.
Which again, like that's awesome.
I think I'm down with that. I actually would like to read the book. I think maybe I'd like to see. Yeah, now that we're talking about it more, I'm more curious about it. So, yes, it holds up, in my opinion. A shocking 3-0 sweep for Cloud Atlas. Congratulations, Travis. I don't know how often we have 3-0 sweeps, but when they do happen, that means maybe we're probably all wrong, truthfully. But, hey,
we've gotten bitten by movies that attempt to tell us about literally the human experience throughout history. But I think this one has so much to at least try to tell us, whether listening or not is another story, that it demands respect.
And by the way, take a picture of whatever your settings are, because I haven't heard any feedback on this show, and that's been amazing. I'm really proud. Seriously, I want to give a shout out to us. Woohoo! It's a big day for us. Yeah, seriously. Fucking, we
I've got better audio than Christopher Nolan in Tenet.
What'd you guys think? Cinema9pod at protonmail.com. Did you watch Cloud Atlas? Does this movie suck? Are we idiots? Please tell us. We prefer to know the truth. You can give us a rating on Apple Podcasts. 5 stars welcome. You can also say, hey, they rate good movies, and they also give honest opinions. We always try to keep it real no matter what. Check out our Facebook page. These guys are always popping on with movies they've been watching. Travis's picks of recent come up every now and again, and the Instagram page still has reviews on occasion. Is that correct?
Yeah. Travis putting a ton of them out there. Birthday shout outs. This is and that's still alive.
Great. All right. Well, there it is. Eric Brancham, you now have control of the show for next week's episode.
I thought I would indulge. I think a couple of viewers have already suggested this a couple of times, and I think it is appropriate that we accommodate them. It's something I've been wanting to take another look at in a long time. I haven't seen it in probably 15 years. That first viewing for me, God, in 2004 was beyond devastating. But it's been a long time since I've taken a look at it, and it's one of these.
You're gonna do it, huh?
Yeah, I'm going there. I mean, yeah, I'm. It's one of those that I'm worried to watch again because I don't want to have that, a taint on that experience in back in the day. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I thought it was going to be Aviator. Okay, good. All right.
No, I mean, it's clearly awesome. Yeah, it's been a while. Time to take another look.
All right.
Somebody didn't. Was that one of you guys that just said recently that somebody told me that movie sucks now? So that's interesting.
That was Eric.
Was that Eric? Was it?
Oh yeah, it was definitely Eric.
Okay, all right.
That was my fear. No, I haven't. I don't remember saying
you totally said this to us recently.
Yeah.
You said you watched it in the past year and it didn't hold up.
I must have been talking about Human Nature or something else with Charlie Kaufman. No, I haven't seen this in a while. I'm worried. I'm
thinking of anything shows that Charlie Kaufman can blow it. So.
Oh, that movie! You didn't like it, right?
I dug it.
No.
It's so bad. It's
so bad.
Joke. It's a joke.
And it's like he went over the edge with his own internalization of himself and other people. And yeah. So, but I haven't not watched this film in a long time, so I'm excited. Good. This should be a big deal. This movie was a big deal when it came out, especially among people who were of age and had their heart broken by then. This is a very early
Ruffalo in there.
20s,
yeah, some rough butt, not easy. So next week, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's directed by Spike Jonze, right?
Michel Gondry.
Oh, it's a Gondry one. That's right. Okay. Good call. So next week, join us for Eternal Sunshine of Spotless Mind, Cinema 9 Pod. Every week, we go live on Thursdays, and you can listen to our podcast. Thank you for joining us for the Cloud Atlas episode, which held up. We'll see you next time.